Get to the place that,
Get on the ferry.
oh. You can sleep on the ferry. So,
Good advice. And go.
Okay, at this point, I call to order the February 11th regular school board meeting for the Cordova School District. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, and at this point, do we need to do roll call on these since Dave's not here? Okay, roll call,
Nate Crudup,
here.
Emma Merritt,
Present.
Pete Hefner.
here,
Kate Trudeau,
Here.
Adelaide Box.
Here.
Warren.
We have a quorum, very good. At this time, we'll go to presentations or certificates of award.
right. Thank you.
Right, well, February seems to be yearly a great time to recognize lots of people. As I was reflecting back on not only the first part of this year, but last year as well, I was like, yeah, February, it's a good loving month for lots of things, and especially for recognizing people. So I'm just gonna look to my stack of things here, and as you know, we held our 43rd annual tip-off tournament just almost a month ago by now. But Alaska Airlines did a tremendous job in helping make that possible. And so you'll see in your packet, there's a resolution that is being presented to the board. And that resolution will go to Alaska Airlines corporate office in Anchorage, just as a nice vote to say thank you. But, you know, the local Alaska Airlines employees that we have here in Cordova do a tremendous job, not only with the school, but obviously the community as well. And whether it's losing our whether it's finding our baggage, or whether it's just greeting us when we come into the station or to and from the plane. We just really appreciate. And so we do have James Fisher here from Alaska Air. I'm just gonna ask him to come up and let him kind of take this, and maybe you can find somewhere on the wall out at the station to hang that and just show the staff, you know, our appreciation, particularly with the tip-off tournament, but also just in the day-to-day things that you do for the community of Cordova. So James, I'm proud to extend this thank you to you, and really want to appreciate you all for the support that you give. So we'll turn that around maybe and give a show to. I think I'll just give you a second to introduce yourself, because I don't know if everybody kind of knows who you are, but.
Yeah, we came here in November. My personal gratitude is for you guys. I got 2 kids in the schools here, so that's definitely been the highlight of 3 months in Cordova so far. These 2 were the very first 2 people that we met in Cordova, and end of October, I think. And they gave us a nice tour of the school and talked for hours about Cordova and all you guys had to offer. Thank you again, all of you. I didn't see it, but on behalf of this stuff, the staff is really proud of being part of this community. I don't know if you guys feel that or not when you're going through the airport, but when stuff like this happens, where the corporate side decides to contribute to Cordova, it brings a lot of pride to our staff. It's been really cool to see that. The staff feel they work hard every day for you guys or for anybody traveling out, but when stuff like this happens, it really brings a lot of light to us over there at the airport too. So we'll definitely pass along the thanks up the chain of command there. I got some big calls from the higher ups, letting me know about this, and they're proud also to be part of Cordova. When I was interviewing for this job last fall, in each level of interview, I asked like, you know, I'm going to this really small town, you guys are starting to fly to Rome and London, are you gonna keep carrying? And the answer was always like a resounding yes, like that's our heart, that's where we came from. So the airline still does care a lot about rural Alaska. And this kind of stuff makes those higher ups feel proud to be part of the company too, so, yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, appreciate it. All right, so let's see. So the next award that we have to hand out is to our very own Sandy Ponte. So Sandy, I know you don't like coming up in front of crowds. But like, this is the first meeting you've been at in my 11 years here. So- I know, right? But this actually is presented on behalf of the Alaska School Nutrition Association, of which Sandy is a part, and she's been the president and president-elect and past president and whatever other sorts of roles that you have when you get up into that level of leadership. But this is the Dean Hamburg Achievement Award, and it's presented to Sandy. And I'll just read the excerpt here. In recognition of your exceptional dedication and leadership throughout your career, your lasting contributions have advanced school nutrition programs, elevated meal quality, strengthened staff development, and enriched the community you serve. And so I don't know that there's a person in town that hasn't had a cinnamon roll that's come off the line or out of the oven from the kitchens that it's in. But we certainly appreciate it. And Sandy has taken on an additional role this year for those of you that might not know. But she is mentoring the staff out in Unalaska, the kitchen staff. And so there's current superintendent, who you all know and met as our incoming school. Reached out to me late spring last year and just said, man, there's, so many people are talking about the food service program in Cordova, and we are just in dire need of some help. Do you think Sandy might be interested? And I floated up by Sandy, and of course she looked at me and said, really? But she didn't bat an eye. She said yes right away and whatever it would take. And, Sandy has given above and beyond, not only here, but this past year, supporting the food service staff out in Alaska. So we greatly appreciate all the efforts that you've made, Sandy, and hopefully we'll continue to make for a long time. So thanks so much.
Thank you.
Is it okay? On airlines.
Yeah. Good. Sandy, if you want to say something with it.
Okay, well, that's.
Yeah. Right. So the next stack that I have here, so our school board is part of the Alaska Association of School Boards, and each year they designate February as School Board Appreciation Month. And so these next certificates go out to each of our board members with thanks and gratitude, honoring local school board members for their dedicated leadership in public education and their continuing service to the children of Cordova. So I have a certificate for each of them. Won't call them up, but we'll hand them down. Kate Purdue. Emma Merritt. And Pete Peckinpah. That's nice. So, and we do have one for Dave Gleason, who was unable to join us this season. So I sort of referred to these as handouts, and I'm going to do a shameless joke here, right? Like when you're in front of people, and especially a big audience, you ask people, and like I'm one of those people that, oh, please don't ask me to do stuff when I'm at a conference or at a meeting. But anyways, everybody raise your hand. You guys raise your hands. right? And put your hands out, right? So feel free to use oh, now I'm gonna forget the joke. Somebody help me out. Feel free to use these handouts or overheads at any time during tonight's meeting.
Where's Lawrence and then
Sorry. Maybe I should just put my keys on the table. Leave now, leave now. Anyways, so for indulging me. Tend to do these things when I'm really nervous. So the last certificate that we have is a certificate of recognition. And that goes out to Dave Gleason. So Dave has been serving on the board for 3 years now, and as is customary for those board members that are leaving, not running again. But we just want to honor Dave and tell him thank you for his dedicated guidance in public education, in the service of children in Cordova. So if you see him out on the street or out and about town here in the next month when he's on his way back, please do extend your thanks and appreciation to him if you so feel.
Thank you. Thank you. At this point, I will take a motion to approve the meeting agenda.
I move to approve the February 11th, 2026 regular meeting agenda as presented. I'll second.
Discussion. Hearing no discussion, roll call, please.
Date's not on the phone.
I don't know, I asked, I don't know.
Sorry, it's the scrap.
Do we or do we not?
No.
No, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All in favor. And at this time, audience comments. If anybody would like to address any of the items that are on the agenda tonight, you may do so at this time. Well, there appears to be none. So in that case, I am ready to receive a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented in the board packet.
Move to approve the consent agenda as presented in the board packet.
I'll second.
Discussion? Hearing no discussion, we will vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. We have reports now, is that correct? Okay. So we'll move to reports, starting with student council, and we welcome Adelaide to the table for her first time.
Student activity has been really busy this past quarter. We have basketball going on, cheer, middle school volleyball. Currently, the basketball and cheer teams are headed to Valdez to play in the Elks tournament, and the junior high volleyball is going to Glen Allen. And everyone's really busy preparing for homecoming. All the classes are involved in preparing carts, getting ready for pep rallies. What's going on?
When is?
When's homecoming?
It's the Saturday after the Banana tournament, which I think is the 28th.
Okay. So. Yeah, thank you for that, Cordova, CEA. I,
All right, Mount Apples, we're all about iceworm, apparently. So last 2 weeks been full of excitement for our, not just iceworm, but our One Book, One School program. The students were all enjoying talking about the book Almost Super. They were really loving answering questions for prizes, especially for prizes. So that was really fun for the teachers to see. It's fun to see them all excited about reading with their friends and their teachers. They were super excited. There's iceworms everywhere in the school. Baby iceworm came to an assembly. The Ms. Iceworm candidates came, so everybody was just really excited about iceworm. At the CHS, students were enjoying another design challenge during team time. As always, it's fun to see older and younger students working together, inviting each other to share ideas. Preparations for this year's homecoming car parade are off to a strong start. The cheerleading squad and their enthusiastic coaches added a talent show to this year's ice worm activities. We look forward to seeing this annual event expand. What a fabulous idea for a fundraiser. The high school STEAM class was invited to participate in an EPS core participatory photography project and enjoyed the photography workshop with guest speakers from the University of Alaska, Micah Hahn and Teresa Vertigan, and even took a night photography field trip to experiment with astrophotography and light painting. Their progress in this project will be shared with the Cordova Science gathering on Friday, and Micah and Teresa will be back next week to lead another workshop. We're working on arrangements so students can share their photography in an art show. Oh, thank you. Any questions?
I love it, thank you.
Thank you. And the classified employee group.
No, I am back in. We have had several CEG members participate in Ice Cream Weekend events, both as participants and volunteers. We've had several people in their concerts, and help with the concerts over the weekends, parades, selling food and other fundraisers for cheerleaders, music. So that went really well. We had guest artists, and I don't recall their names, but out in the hall and by the trophy case, you'll see what CHS put together for the junior high school, as they were giving questions and that sort of thing. And so there's a really cool rendition of the art there. So take a moment and take a look at that. CEG, I'd like to say, is proud to announce that we will be doing our bargaining. We sent our initial proposal and salary schedule to Alex this morning. So hopefully you all get a chance to take a look at that before Saturday. So we're really excited to be working with all of you in this first ever bargaining for Cordova Classified. And we look forward to that. I also would like to say that we have two teaching staff members that are Citizens of the Year here in Cordova, and so we're really super proud of that. So, any questions for me? Right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone representing city council? If not, we'll move on to committee reports. AASB, Pete.
We had the legislative fly-in this weekend, and it's always so unfortunate that it happens on Ice Worm weekend and Super Bowl. And it's always, but it's always, well, it's exciting to me. It was interesting, so early in the legislative session. Representative Story has an interesting bill, and it has to do with student count and trying to level that out. But it's real early in the legislative session. Last year they came out gangbusters and really pushed hard. I was telling one of the representatives, and he said, well, maybe next year, with a change in administration, as he played his cello. So it's early on in the session yet. I did tell everybody Alex is coming down and they can chew on Alex. Representative Stutz is looking forward to the visit. And I spoke to a lot of people just in the hallways and such, as well. And I'll share out some information that came from some of the meetings. It was interesting. It was a law and policy day. We had an interesting panel. They spoke about safety. Anchorage School District presented. They have a lot of SROs and such in their school building, but and Billy Strickland spoke too about his experience in 1997 in Bethel. Cammie Moore sat up on the panel with the policemen and other folks, and I was texting Cammie to say, peer groups, talk to the peer groups in the school. Cause Cordova has the bionic programs. It's kind of is, I'm not sure exactly where it's in development, but one of the real interesting things is there's some company someplace that has now got drones. And so they're sending drones into the building. It was kind of when I was saying, ooh, Terminator 2. Uh, but it was an interesting meeting up there. But as I say, I'll share out, Mike Bronson has some amazing data in education funding historically. And it really points out, the need and across states, how Alaska, I think Mike calls it stingy. Alaska has an increased education funding similar to other states, the vast majority of states across the United States. Of course, it's increased about 6% in the 20 years I've been on the board. So, which is, and they're trying to define adequacy as we're stuck in that mode. I did ask if we can get beyond the idea of forming task groups and having a reports hidden that come from these task report, these task committee or these task forces have been developed. So it'll be ongoing. Yeah, it'll just be an interesting session. Of course, the governor proposed a budget that's in deficit 1.2 billion. They are looking at some new revenue features this year. Last year, the revenue measures were voted down. Governor Dunleavy did come out with a fiscal plan, talked about a sales tax, which went alongside of reducing corporate taxes. That pretty much died at the House Finance Committee level already. But that's sort of brief.
Thank you. And high school site council.
I was not able to attend the last one.
Did they have one here recently?
Yeah, there's two attendees.
So perhaps Paul can share with us what
It's in his report.
yeah, great. Elementary site council.
It was the same topic of internet and media safety. And we had one new parent and one parent who had come to the last presentation on internet and media safety.
Great, thank you. Safety and Facility Committee.
We have a meeting scheduled on the 4th
Yes.
of February.
Curriculum Committee, we have upcoming, well, for a while, I don't think.
Right, our next one is scheduled for March the 3rd, but we'll see if we have anything
Anything to
curriculum
discuss?
considerations.
Okay. Policy Committee.
Yeah, we met and I missed it. Well, I was in a meeting with Representative Stutz and evidently they rushed through it and got it done in a half hour or something or other, but I'll let Alex report on that.
Amazing.
I wasn't there.
I didn't want to say that. Would concur. So we finished up reviewing the chapter 1000s. So those will be presented in March's meeting. And we have an upcoming meeting in March. And we're going to start looking at the 2000s, chapter 2000s, which is administration. And those are, it's a fairly brief or short chapter. So I would guess that we would get through likely all of those policies in March for review. And then we're back on track as far as our cyclical review cycle goes. But there are some outstanding policies that I've been working on that I'll bring to the board later in the year. And there are a couple that were required by recent legislation that we haven't quite developed yet. AASB has some model policies around them. Class size is one in particular that school districts are required to have. But oddly enough, when you try to find what was actually passed, there are a number of iterations of that. So I will need to try to find a resource that knows exactly what the law says.
One of the interesting aspects, that law takes place in July of this year or something or other, so I think that's one of the hiccups with that.
Right. So,
Negotiation committee is meeting Saturday with the classified folks to begin negotiating. So we'll have more to report on that next month. And that brings us to the administrative report, starting with Seth, please.
so. As Adelaide mentioned, a lot of, everyone's pretty busy, the students are, a lot of travel going on right now. Yeah. Anything to add to my board report? Any questions for me?
Just appreciate all the travels, the stuff that you've done, with working with Alaska Airlines, it's pretty, really wonderful and nice work.
Yeah, they saved us, that was awesome.
Thank you, Seth.
Great, you guys.
And the principal's report, Ms. Dawn.
Another fun and busy month. All kinds of ice worm festivities and visitors and lots of fun things happening, as always. Any questions?
How'd the book read go?
So fun. It was so much fun. I used some of the funds that we raised last year between One School, One Book and the Charleston Map fundraiser. It all goes into Echoes Pride, and so I found that there is actually a sequel for this book, which I did not realize there was, and so I ordered 10 copies for the library, and asked Mrs. Beckett to wait until we were done to put them out, and they're probably off the shelves, I would assume. We got the ones. Oh, the rest haven't shown up. Oh, I thought they all had, see?
Yeah, good try.
Yes, I've had practice, because I've gotten the kids all excited about that. But they all loved it. It's a really funny book, and the trivia questions were a whole lot of fun. We were asking questions, about what their superpowers were, and they all would talk about the kiddo that could turn his innie into an outie, and vice versa, and how funny that was. They were all giggling, telling me all about it, and I loved reading it with them, so very fun.
And I thought it was really cool that the author actually did a personal message to the
Right.
kids at school.
I know, I went to look for the video that I normally share and happened to find that he had an email instead, and I reached out and he had it to me by the launch date. I was surprised because it
Yeah, it's got-
was only a few days before that I reached out to him, so.
Yeah, thank you for making that event so special for the kids and the families.
Absolutely, and it was great that it corresponded this time with the readathon too, because those kids were all reading, they all had minutes to log, whether they were participating in the fundraiser piece of it or not. We had lots of fun prizes for that, so. And I was on top of it this year, instead of, giving random prizes, I had a little time to think about it, and I was able to make them all reading themed prizes, so that was fun.
Any questions for Ms. Gonzalez?
All right.
All right, thank you very much. And high school report, Mr. Paul.
Good evening. So we did notice a slight dip in attendance this month. We've had an incredible amount of sicknesses. In fact, one day we had almost 50 students out sick. But we're hoping that our kiddos are on the mend and that we'll see that pop back up. Additionally, we administered the work keys assessment this month or last month. Work keys measures work readiness in students, particularly in math, in reading, and then also in sort of soft skills measurement. We had 3 students of the 11 who took it, who scored, one scored perfect score, and the other 2 scored within 2 points of a perfect score. Work keys is a test that can be used at some institutions like Avtex to supplement the entrance exams. It can also be used, some employers use it, and certain school, you don't have to take their entry tests. We also learned that the AP honor roll came out, and We were one of only 4 schools in Alaska who made gold for the AP honor roll. Which just shows how hard our kids are working and how dedicated our AP teachers are. And lastly, site council, oh, I'm sorry, I skipped something. We had a couple of extension activities last month. The Chickaloonies, who's a graphic novel team out of Chickaloon, came and did a presentation, an art presentation for our students. And then the students got to build a character with the Chickaloonies. And it's out in the hallway if you'd like to see it. And we also had a chance to see the Dan Mack Band over at the Cordova Center do a Stevie Wonder tribute, which we actually took kids on a Friday. Kids had a great time. Lastly, our site council meeting this month. We had again our standard 2 members. They're never the same 2 members, but we'll get to. And I still am not sure how we'll garner more interest. You know, we got flyers out. It's in the newsletters. It's on Facebook, and it's also it's on the radio.
Throw out a hot topic.
What's that?
Throw out a hot topic.
Well,
Look at everybody there.
so cell phones didn't draw but one parent last time. And then this time we spoke about the change in the schedule, and that again didn't draw a ton of folks. Our next meeting is scheduled, actually it's not scheduled yet, it'll be the last week of February. We discussed a little bit about why the schedule change came about here at CHS and what the calendar change was. Parents were pretty disappointed to lose that flexibility. But we explained that, you know, that a lot of the flexibility we've been able to reincorporate. It's just that they're required days now. You guys have any questions for me?
I just noted that there is no office referral discipline in January, so that's pretty good. I don't know if so many kids were sick or if the kids are just like happy and thriving and feeling part of their community, and that seems pretty awesome.
I have a couple questions.
Yeah.
The work keys assessment, like what kinds of questions, this is kind of a weird question, but I mean, it looks like it's proficient, there's must be some proficiency questions in like math, reading, communication, but like, what, do they ask you questions about career readiness?
No,
Or just about reading, math?
They're measuring your proficiency in reading and math, and then also in particular skills you might need for career readiness. Like they might have you read the email and determine what the important parts were and what your response would be. Things like that. I've never taken it personally. So I couldn't tell you from that side. But it is something like I know that in my last school district in Colorado, we used it when we hired paras. And if you take the work keys prior to coming to us and school, you have to do any of the onboarding tests. As long as a nice bit. And there's a lot of institutions in Alaska that use that honor the work keys. So when our kids do well on it, it opens doors for them.
But it's mostly a proficiency type.
Yep, proficiency.
Okay, interesting. How much does it cost? Oh, no, you said it's paid for.
Paid for by the Prince William Sound Economic Advisory Council. I'm not sure I know what the actual cost of it is. I think it's, I'll wager somewhere between $25 and $100.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what is the top 10% for the AP honor roll?
Yes.
What does that mean when you're qualifying, or like top 10%? Does that mean all of our students were in the top 10%?
So our school was in the top 10% of AP scores within the state.
Okay, and it's of all AP.
All AP, yeah, so it's every AP course we offered last year.
And what AP courses do we teach?
So last year we actually are offering less AP courses this year. We had to offer less to be able to offer our intervention classes. But this year we're offering AP Gov and then AP Lit.
Okay.
Last year we had AP English Lit, I believe, and then we had AP Bio, AP Physics, and there's one I'm missing, but I can't remember what it was.
Okay.
History.
No, it was AP World History. Yeah, US History. Thank you.
Cool. My last comment, and with the, on your site council, you said that they were talking about like in family literacy engagement strategy. When I was looking on the One School, One Book website, they do have that also available for like middle school and high school as well. And some of the site council meetings that do bring out a lot of people were the cell phones, not the last cell phone one, but the first cell phone one was like the biggest, one of the biggest groups, and then also fifth and sixth grade. As well, those were really big turnouts, and I'm like into some of these like concerns and undercurrents, and a lot of it has to do with like belonging in your school and everything. And so and social interactions too. And when I look at the One School, One Book like we're doing at the elementary school, especially in middle school, I can see that there could be some interesting value to everyone reading the same book, even with adults in the room.
Right.
As well. So, and you might get into some really interesting topics and stories too. So anyway.
Any other questions for Paul? Thank you,
All
sir.
right, thank you.
And food service, Sandy was here earlier, not here anymore. Any questions about food service can be directed to Alex. Hearing none, we will move on to technology. Jason?
Good evening. So today was the closing day for our bidding process under E-rate. The bids go directly to the consultant, so I haven't seen them yet. I checked with them before the close of bidding today, and we had gotten several bids, so we have at least several to review. Other than that, the main point I wanted to point out in my for my report was that technology costs, particularly anything that has RAM in it, has gotten absurd. There's some pieces of equipment I've been looking at that have gone up more than 40% in under a year. That's a combination of AI farms eating up a lot of the equipment, and some of the vendors told me tariffs are impacting as well. On the plus side, when you go to Facebook, now you get all those ridiculous videos, so yes, that's maybe worth the increasing cost of this.
And, I had a question.
Sure.
On the E-rate funding, how does that come to us? Is it sort of a set limit on the funds that we can get for E-rate?
So there's two types of E-rate funding. There's category one, which is internet service. Then there's category two, which is hardware, network hardware, things like battery backups. That's what we use it for. And then there's some other categories under category two that we don't utilize, such as having people do work for you, consultants coming in or companies coming in and doing work. On the category two, it is the amount of money you can apply for is based upon your student level. Under a certain threshold, there's just a set amount. Once you pass that threshold, then it's a per student base. So what we do is once every 5-year cycle, we will go in and figure out when it looks like we're at our peak population, we will reapply for that funding level. So that adjusts our category two. The category one is not doesn't have a limit per se in terms of the amount of. Some very rural districts who are on satellite are going to have much higher costs compared to districts like ours that have terrestrial. And we have probably high costs compared to like a big city that has a very robust infrastructure.
And how is that, and it's a federal grant, right?
It's
Or federal funds?
interesting. It's first, on your telephone bill, there is a line that's essentially a surcharge. I don't remember exactly what it's called, but that funds an organization or goes to an organization called the abbreviation is USAC. I don't remember what the like Universal Service something. And that's the money, the pool of money that's then used to fund schools and libraries.
And then I guess ultimately the question is it more than last year? Did you, so we're waiting to, well, yeah, did we get more funding than last year? Or is it,
So,
can you tell that or?
Category 2 does go up. It went up under this funding cycle we're currently in. I believe it's a 5-year cycle for category 2. They adjusted up the floor a little bit. So we will have more funding in that when we choose to use it. I try to wait towards the end of the cycle, wherever possible, so that we're getting the newest equipment we can. We have the longest licensing available to us under that time period. In that way, if something happens to the program, we're good for a while. So we could, at this point, replace some equipment. Doesn't need to be replaced, so we're waiting until later in the cycle. Then as far as category 1, there isn't really a funding target. So we apply for whatever bid we select. Based on our food service numbers, our free and reduced numbers, we get a discount level. So I believe we are the highest possible discount level, category 2, 85% discount, category 1, 90% discount. So then we out of pocket pay the remainder of that.
Excellent, thank you very much.
Thank you. Should we get the questions?
I'm just curious, you said there's a potential 40% increase in some of the expenses.
Not
Where-
potential.
Okay. Where do we anticipate those funds coming from? Because we're gonna, I
So
mean,
we'll have to.
in the past, you've relied on a lot of grants and those kind of things, right? And you know,
Right, and
those
really-
going up.
There really aren't many grants longer either,
Okay.
unfortunately. So for things like, for things that are in student hands, we have some funding available that was set aside in previous years we can utilize. We'll just have to budget more on some things, like copier replacements, for example. That was a 40% increase item. And for the moment, I took a step back from that because we can continue to use the ones we have for a little longer, potentially. They're not in as bad a condition as the ones we just replaced because they're in locations that get lower usage. So there may have to be some decisions about holding off on replacements. I try to always replace things before anybody notices they need to be replaced. My philosophy is you get to the point where something is a problem, you've waited too long. So we have to kind of balance that moving forward a little bit more.
We own our copiers,
We do.
then we pay a per page fee additional.
We pay a month or a maintenance fee, and then if we exceed the print threshold, then we pay a per page.
Yeah.
And it's my understanding we've never exceeded our per page threshold.
It's a celebration in itself. Any other questions? Thank you. Thank you. Chris?
I don't have anything to add to my report. I just wanted to highlight, it's not necessarily directly a maintenance topic, but we do have a trainer coming at the end of the month to provide CPR, first aid and AED training to district staff who choose to participate. The people coming to give it EMI, they're Environmental Management Incorporated, or they're at Acreage Training Provider. And it's a cool program that they're able to come and do this for us without any cost to the district or the participants, utilizing the STEP grant through the state of Alaska, which is State Training and Employment Program. So as long as our staff fills out a form that says they're doing this for their employment, it'll better their, employability and so on and so forth, that'll cover the cost of the class. So it's nice to be able to offer that to staff and those that want. Get some people around the district that are trained to respond to any needs that should arise. Any questions?
Good find on that program. I know it's hard to get CPR, certification in Cordova, so thank you.
Are there certain employees within the district that are mandated to have this training?
I don't know enough to answer that positively.
Alex, do we?
No,
There aren't
any
No.
state laws
coaches or any of those don't
require CPR and first aid training.
And our school district doesn't require it either.
No, we don't. We do yearly, not full on. For CPR, we do first aid training.
Any other questions? Oh, thank you, sir. Annie.
It's all there. Questions? I've been in a budget hole, so yeah.
No questions.
No questions?
I don't have anything at this point.
No. How about that? Yeah, Mr. Russin.
I was gonna tell Annie, don't go anywhere, cause maybe I'll be let off someday. But I don't really have anything to provide an update on in my report. If there's any questions you have or anything that you want me to talk a little bit more about, I'm happy to.
Just because we're talking about budgeting and then like multi-year type things, and there's no updates at this time. I know it's pretty busy time of year, but when I'm thinking of our funding, right, with the city being like half and half and not having this long-term, even just 2 years out look, right? This longer term look, I think would be really beneficial for the board and also just for financial planning in general, even, staffing with increased attendance levels here at the high school. So, and hardware upgrades, right? And I think some of those funds were maybe gonna be used with the capital, capital list. But anyway, I just think that there could be some clarity and some even aha moments for us if we look on a longer term. So I just wanted us to just keep remembering
Yeah.
that long-term view.
Yeah, great. Thanks for that.
Any other questions?
No, I can't think of any good ones.
Okay, look at that. So we go to financials, is that correct?
I did it right away.
One question on the stagecoach fleet. Interest? That's 70,000 year to date. Sorry, on page 104.
Thank you, cause I'm
Yep. See that?
no idea where I am right now.
I was noticing that too. Is that a
Must
green?
be, well,
It
That seems like-
is.
and we budgeted for, like, we're budgeting 45 for next year. So, what if this year we have year to date?
That is year to date.
That is $70,000 in interest since January.
So that's a new program and that's, I think, where I kind of was.
Gotcha. Yeah.
This is the first year that we've done it, so, yeah.
Wow, that's a.
It's quite a-
That is a nice
It's,
rate.
it's interesting, I've never, yeah, it's like cool how it works too, like it's
Yeah.
kind of just like out of sight, out of
Yeah.
mind, and it goes in and out of the account every day.
What's the balance, like, and it's
It's the balance of our account,
the whole,
yeah,
all the funds.
yeah, it
all of
zeroes
the-
out the account.
Yeah.
Every daily.
But like, the
Yeah.
dollar value. What's the
Oh.
dollar value of those?
Of the sweep accounts,
Cause I know sometimes these funds don't always, aren't always.
they're
70,000
Let me
seems
tell
like a
you,
ridiculously
That's
high
way on
number.
there, that's crazy.
well, it's kind of it's the balance of our checking account. If that makes sense, like it's.
Like, what is the balance of our checking account? 2 million?
It's 1.9 right now.
1.9.
Yeah. Ish, I'm hovering around there, maybe a little higher.
It's amazing. Yeah, I noticed it was 45 in the other packet at this point, but nice job.
Any other questions?
And I was just counting on my fingers, we're a little over 50% of the year, we're 7 months.
52% of the year,
Oh, thank you very much, okay. And,
or no, 58, sorry.
okay, right, so I guess, I just look at people transportation, I suppose some of those funds coming in at odd times, but.
Yeah.
Part of the pupil transportation will likely be under budgeted or underspent this year because part of the transportation services shuttles to the pool, which have not, since the pool have been closed. So we haven't been paying those expenses for those shuttle runs. So what we budgeted will likely come under what we projected. And we use that pupil transportation fund from the state, so those aren't general funds that we use to pay for that transportation service.
Well, I did have a question, I don't know, on page 106, I was just noticing, well, that CLSD, that's the grant that you had gotten. Was that what, am I thinking right? Okay. I noticed the migrant ed regular had a big, change in there. What was that related to?
What is the change you're referring to?
Oh, well, if we had, expected, well, it's, 75,000, the revenue was 20, well, nearly 30,000 and expenses year to date was 105.
It's because it's behind, so we've applied for reimbursement, so it's just like a kind of catch-up situation. Grants.
Oh,
And the CLSD is as
Yes,
well.
yeah.
same with the Title VI fees, okay, yes.
And those are quarterly reimbursements.
Excellent.
Oh, they're quarterly.
Quarterly.
Okay, yeah. That makes sense.
That was all that I.
Any additional questions? All right, thank you, man. That moves us to information items. Cordova School District Board of Education announcement of a new superintendent. Did you want to say anything to that? Nope.
Typically, we don't discuss information items, but
well,
they're.
And then we won't today.
They're there for information purposes.
Oh, thank you. I think you told me that last month too. And so we go to new business. I need a motion for board policy 1220.
I move to approve BP 1220 advisory questions archive recommendation first read as presented in the board packet.
Second.
Been moved and seconded, discussion.
Those were recommendations from the committee at not last night's policy meeting, of course, but the one prior. And I just lost it here. But if you had any questions, anything to.
Seeing no questions. We'll have a vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes. We need a motion for board policy 1230.
I move to approve BP 1230 Citizens Advisory Committee's revision recommendation first read as presented in the board packet.
Second.
Been moved and seconded, discussion.
I have most of these noted in my report, but.
I was wondering, on the third paragraph, it says with board approval, the superintendent or designees may appoint committee members. Is there a process for appointing these committee members, or is it just like people that the superintendent picks out? I was just thinking like, when we have a new superintendent coming in, you know, she may not be as familiar with our community members, so what do we have in place to help guide her in picking these community members?
Yeah, that's a good question in terms of process. And I may need to kind of work on a process like that to address that. So typically when we have, is it 3 board subcommittees? So we have curriculum, policy, and safety, facility and safety. So in the ARs that are associated with that, it indicates what the makeup of those committees are. So usually a couple of administrators, the superintendent, of course, a couple of board members, and then community members or staff at large. And typically, what I have done for those particular committees is to send out an email to staff asking if there's any interest in serving on those committees, and then invariably get, several people that might respond, and then identify people to serve on this.
I was trying to remember, is there a policy that says the superintendent, I guess that's the ad hoc committees, that the superintendent will appoint or appoint committee members from the community? One of the aspects of that is, I saw a board, the board themselves pick the people, and it didn't seem like a good process, because, it wasn't impartial, sort of.
Let me follow up on that.
I know that I've worked in districts where every few years we actually just generate as administrators a list of stakeholders that we know of in our community or in our individual schools that may serve that role.
And that sounds like a great idea, and I think that's kind of like what was getting to my question is it just the superintendent that appoints the committee members, or is there a process for people who have been in the community for a long time to be like, hey, new superintendent, here's some really valuable stakeholders for you to pick from?
Yeah, great question.
Thank you.
Any other discussion on this matter? If not, let's have a vote. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? So moved. And move on to AR 1260.
I move to approve AR 1260 visit to the school, newly proposed administrative regulation, first read as presented in the board packet.
Second.
Moved and seconded, discussion.
I got a question. Number 6, it's saying that no person shall make a video recording in the classroom without prior approval of the principal. And I'm just wondering if photos is included in that, or is it just video? Asking as somebody who goes in a classroom and takes a lot of photos.
So it's primarily video would be the essence of that. We do have media release forms are sent out at the beginning of the year, and then parents can opt out of any video. There are some general rules around taking photos or videos in public. And so schools are considered public places. Classrooms are, they're in a public building, but they're a little bit more private than kind of like the gym at an event. And so there are, I can't remember the last time we had any media persons coming in taking photos, but the caveat or the default is not to include student names in those images or in those photos. And the office staff always cross-reference those media release forms just to make sure.
This one came from an incident that happened, I think it was in Ketchikan, where somebody came charging into a classroom and was upset and was doing things. So that's some of that.
And there's been cases where there's been pictures taken in school settings. And then those pictures put online and with names and someone getting access to the name of the student. And the student that where they were not to have access to that student.
I guess I'm not really proposing any changes necessarily to this policy, because or AR, because I think it's a good one and you are in charge of the ARs, Mr. Russin, but I do think that we need to, handle privacy issues for our children, extremely seriously. And right, and you, like you said, there's legal requirements and whatnot, but, if there is something that extends to the classroom that includes pictures too, I would hope that we are including it, whether or not it gets into this iteration of the AR or not. Some people might not know that when they come into the classroom. And in this day and age, I think it's more, I think your image is probably just as, can be violated just as much as your name because of generative AI, advanced word searches, right? Or advanced searches, image searches. So I think the image is still a concern in addition to the video.
Okay, thank you. It would be easy enough for us to, aside policy is just to do some public announcements, right? Like we put something in the principal newsletters, just, hey, just a reminder, right? If you're in the classroom and, for an event or a party or whatnot and happen to be taking photos, please be aware that some parents may not want their children's images and likenesses publicized. So please check in with the office, so we could do some infographic type of things like that.
Any other discussion? If not, we will vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
I move to approve VP 1311 participation in community life as presented in the board packet.
Second.
Been moved and seconded, discussion. Seeing no discussion, we will vote. Those in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes. BP 1312.1.
I move to approve BP 1312.1, public complaints concerning school personnel, first read as presented in the board packet.
Second.
Been moved and seconded, discussion. Hearing none, we'll vote. Those in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes. AR 1312.4.
I move to approve AR 1312.4 public complaints concerning elementary and secondary education act programs, newly proposed AR first read as presented in the board packet.
Second.
Been moved and seconded, discussion. Hearing none, a vote. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. New business.
I move to approve the 2026-2027 CHS school calendar modification as presented in the board packet.
Second.
We moved and seconded, discussion.
Kudos to the administration and to Mr. Tancreed for finding a way to get those 902 hours while still preserving student flexibility.
I will be voting against this calendar revision. I still hold firmly to my opposition in prior votes, right? That I believe we should be increasing instruction time, not decreasing. It's important for all students. And we have our certified teachers there ready to teach. And I think it's good for everybody to be in the classroom. Instruction time with the teachers, not a good use of resources as well. We have full staff, full building that isn't being put to use for instruction time. That's not to say that there's not valuable things happening on Fridays, but I would like to see actually some creativity in how we can incorporate those kinds of things into the classroom or available to all students, so. And if we're looking at the numbers, our elementary school students are receiving like 100 more hours of instruction time than our high school students as well, and over time, that really adds up, so.
Any further discussion? We'll vote. Those in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed?
Aye, nay?
Motion passes.
I move to approve SB 185 retire or hire draft resolution as presented in the board packet.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion?
Yeah, just a brief, so we've been doing this for a number of years. We have a policy in place that addresses, the rehire of retirees. But there was a legislative bill that was passed, Senate Bill 185, a number of years ago. And each year, since we have rehired a couple of the retired staff, we've gone through all of the protocols, all of the requirements. I have filled out reports, both pre-hire and post-hire at the end of the year. Yet, the retirement department, for some reason this year, is looking a little bit deeper at processes and procedures and things, and said, oh, you don't have a resolution on file from you. Even though we've been approving your process for the past 5 years or 6 years. So this hopefully will check a box on somebody's form at the Department of Education that we have a resolution in place. Yeah, our policies are forms of resolutions as well. The last 5 years, it's been acceptable to one person, and now it's not for somebody else. So anyways, that's the background on that.
Thank
You're
you.
developing this.
Any discussion?
Sounds familiar.
It's awesome. All right, let's vote. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
I move to approve 25-26 Alaska. I move to approve resolution 25-26 Alaska Airlines, oh, not resolution, there we go, of appreciation draft as presented in the board packet.
Second.
Then moved and seconded. Discussion?
And as mentioned at the beginning, we gave Mr. Fisher a local certificate. We thought it appropriate to create a resolution on behalf of the board to send to the corporate office in Anchorage. So that's what this is.
Thank you for doing this one as well. It's really important that the upper office hears how valuable the staff at the local airport is.
Hearing no further discussion. The vote. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Are we at personnel now?
I move to approve the 2026-2027 contract recommendations for tenured staff as presented in the board packet.
Second.
Moved in second.
A couple of questions. Can you explain tenure for me? The certificated that entails?
So, state law on tenure, and so, teachers who are in the same consecutively for 3 years earn tenure on the first day of their 4th year in the district. If a teacher comes from another district and they had tenure in the previous district, they would earn tenure in the new district on the first day of their third year. Was there another question?
And tenure means like the benefit of being tenured is,
I think that's subjective, that's subjective, you know, lots of times, you know, tenure comes with seniority and some districts have, provisions in their board policies around layoffs and, you know, if you had to riff, people that had tenure might not necessarily be the first considerations, you know, on the layoff schedule and so forth, so. And I think it shows, you know, commitment from an individual that to be in a place for a period of time. But in terms of legal impacts and so forth, I think that there was probably a time, and I'm gonna be a little bit hesitant here, just because I think this is a subjective piece, what I'm about to say, is that tenured teachers were more protected in their job than non-tenured teachers, so to speak. Lots of times when there are circumstances in which a teacher needs to be let go, for example, you still have to follow all of the same legal requirements for due process, discipline, and so forth. So I don't necessarily think that tenure guarantees your employment any more than it does if you're non-tenured, again, because, you know, in a case where you were terminating somebody, you would have to go through the same types of processes and procedures. But some people may have a different point of view on that. And, you know, with tenure, anytime an employee has a contract in tort law, it's called a property right to employment. And so some people will sort of, you know, try to tie that tenure with a property right in tort law to ongoing employment.
and then certificated. Like there's, you go to college to be a teacher and then I'm asking what the certificated means because I went to some AASB trainings about the grow your own teachers. And I know that there's different programs and different types of education that people get. So I'm just trying to make sure that I understand.
Certificated employees are the ones that are credentialed with teaching certificates, right? So some people can go to college and get a degree in secondary education, for example, but they may not apply for a teaching certificate, right? So even though they had a degree in secondary education, they would not be permitted to teach without the application and receipt of a teaching certificate. So that's the reference. Oftentimes we will say certificated personnel to mean teachers and administrators that are required to have certificates, and then classified employees, which are our hourly employees, do not have to be certificated or credentialed.
And I think maybe I was getting the education confused with the certificate. How long, like the certificate process for the state of Alaska, is that
So
long process or arduous? Or rigorous? Actually, is it rigorous?
So
Depends on which state you're in.
right, so each state has different requirements for earning a teaching certificate, but in Alaska, if you go to a credentialed school, right, and earn a degree and complete your student teaching, then you are eligible to apply for what's called a professional teaching certificate. They used to be called Type A certificates in Alaska for teachers, but now they're called professional certificates, which may or may not change based on the federal administration's ruling that teachers are not professional. So does that answer?
Yeah. I mean, our teachers are the most important,
Yeah.
like the most important thing in, right? they're the ones that are
Yeah.
teaching, yeah, yeah. They're a huge, like the biggest piece of the equation, right? One of the bigger pieces of the equation for student achievement. Like we're talking about, and I guess I'll share a little bit why I'm curious about what the requirements and the standards are, is because we did go to that Grow Your Own Teachers. Which I think is, I'm just curious about that model and what it looks like in other districts, or what it could look like in Alaska. And so there was a couple different presenters. One of them was from UAS, I believe. And then I had kind of had a sidebar conversation with him about the rigor of certain programs compared to others or whatnot. But I guess I'm just going to say in this conversation that the certificated teachers, good teachers, qualified teachers, that's one of the most important things that we do is hire them. And if we're training them, I think we should be training them with the most, with the best programs that we can, and encouraging that professional development as well. So just trying to get a feel for what all the things mean.
Yeah, in order to maintain a certificate, certificates are generally good for 5 years, and during that 5-year period, teachers have to take at least 6 ongoing hours of training or coursework, university coursework, or 3 hours of continuing education units and 3 hours of university credit hours.
And Alex has done a great job over the years. Well, you have a close relative that's, which amazed me, went from nursing into education. And we've, we have quite a number of local hires the last number of years that, not this, a lot of the grow your own, sometimes it was like with language or in rural settings. But I mean, actually, a lot of ours have grown here as well. Another interesting aspect of policy is that the 4,000s, 4,100s are certificated, 4,200s are classified, and 4,300s are management and supervisory. Just if you want to, if you, as you cruise through the policy manual.
Thanks, Pete.
Another discussion?
Questions?
I think because of the how hard a time all states are having finding teachers, that grow your own programs and other programs are becoming more and more popular. It's the only way they can fill classrooms with teachers. It's
That, I guess just personally, I'm also really interested in like workforce development and professional development within organizations as well. I spent some time doing that in like my industry. And so I think that there could be some really great things for our teachers as well. I mean, I'm just brainstorming with, growing. Maybe I don't want to use grow your own, because maybe that's not the correct one, but I guess I'm just talking about developing professional development for our teachers is really what I'm talking about.
Not that we care about where I was at, but we actually had a grow your own program that started with high school juniors. And we said those were interested in education, looking from high school juniors to junior college to the university to get them to come back and teach in our district.
Yeah, and what stuck out with me too was like the quality of the programs and I want the best. And especially if we're gonna provide something, or if there is a way for us to work towards something with our employees. Anyway, maybe getting too brainstorming.
That's okay.
But I do, Hank, always appreciate hearing about that.
All right.
That program educators rising too that I've seen around last.
Any further discussion?
No.
If not, let's vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
I move to approve the 2026-2027 contract recommendations for non-tenured staff as presented in the board packet.
Second.
Been moved and seconded, discussion? Hearing no discussion, vote. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
I move to approve the 2026-2027 contract recommendations for district administration as presented in the board packet.
Second.
Been moved and seconded, discussion. Hearing none. Vote, all in favor?
I
Yes. Opposed? Motion passes.
This last one, under personnel is just, information purposes. There's no need for board action on that, but don't want anyone to feel left out, so. We will be preparing, at some point in time, probably not before we have a better sense of, negotiations and things like that, because we generate personnel action forms that have a person's salary and number of days and things like that, and so that might be a little premature to send those out, when we send the contract offers or the contracts to the certified staffs. Just wanted to give you information.
Yep.
Hope to have everybody back.
Well, thank you, yeah. Pending agenda, we have, review district goals and scholarship fund on there. Anything else that anyone would like to add? Hearing nothing, we'll move on to audience comments. Are there any members of our audience that would like to make some comments that are not related to today's agenda? Or related to today's agenda? I see none. And at that point, we'll go to board comments.
I'll go ahead and start. I really loved, Sandy's award from Dean Hamburger. Isn't he was the head of the food services group and, yeah, it's just, I think it's really cool that Sandy's gotten recognition and she stepped up and has been the president and stuff and, stepped out of her comfort zone, went in the kitchen. And she's so remarkable. We're so lucky to have her. The food is just remarkable. Also, that's really cool that, I mean, I was sort of running around tooting Cordova's horn about, the second year in a row being, number one high school in the state of Alaska. And it's really cool to see the gold EP honor roll as well. I think that's really significant.
Thank you, Emma.
Yeah, I have a couple because we saved our budget comments for now. But I like seeing the budget in a drafty form. And, I thought that our meeting last year with the city council, I don't know what, I think it kind of sounded like maybe that was a thing that doesn't always happen very often, but I thought it was a great opportunity for us to, as a board, to meet with our city council members. And budget meetings should be about the numbers, but I do think that budget meetings should also be about what are we doing here? So when if we do that again, I would love to maybe brainstorm some ways to show city council members, like, what does education look like in Cordova? A lot of them only have experiences from either when their children were in school or when they were in school. And I think that we could really showcase like our small classroom sizes, right? There's so many different things that we can show them that we are doing, and so that I think really paints the picture of what they're putting their money towards and how they're investing in our community by, putting forward money towards our education. So those are suggestions, or those are just things for us to think about. And also, I'm happy to work with anybody on that. And I think that might help kind of grease the wheels on some of these conversations that we're having with the council. I think it's going to be another tough budgeting round for them. I wanted to thank Dave Gleason for his leadership. I know he's not here, but I did want to thank him for his leadership. I affectionately know him as Mr. President. And he really helped for me as a first year school board member. Was very patient with all of my questions, and so I appreciate his leadership on our board. And I will kind of copy some of Pete's comments about, it's all about students first, all about education and increasing and expanding education. And when we keep that in our forefront, we're doing our job as a school board. So to remind us all to have educational excellence on top of our towns.
Thank you, Al.
Thank you again to Alaskan Airlines for your sponsorship. Congratulations to Sandy, everything Pete said. Welcome to Adelaide. I'm really excited to see a new face at the board table. And to echo Emma's comments on spreading school district love at city council. We do have that sign up sheet and it's really easy. You just email Mr. Russin before you go. I've done this and he gives you a list of braggable moments and then you just show up. It takes 10 minutes-ish, maybe like 20, because the school district report is pretty early in the meeting, so I was in and out before 7:30. And I think we should all keep doing that.
Thank you. I echo what everybody said, and I ask that we all keep our friends in British Columbia in our thoughts on this really tough time for them, and yeah, sad day. And with that, I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I move to
I
adjourn.
move to adjourn.
I'll second.
Second discussion. We vote on that?
Yes.
All in favor?
I
Hey.
know. I don't want to.
Or he yells.